Hello everyone, we are now live for episode 4 of Quarantine Fitness and Life. Hope you're all doing well. Just waiting, there we go, we've got our guest for today. Waiting for him to join, my co-host Simon Chandler.
Yes. Oh, mate, we're currently outside clapping the NHS, 8 o'clock, isn't it? The time.
Yeah, good stuff. I liked how you did that little stuff. So people who aren't in the UK, on Thursdays at 8 p.m. we do a clap for the National Health Service, NHS, just to show our support for they're doing, but also for any other frontline staff like health workers at supermarkets and people in care, sort of health care as well. So just for us to show our support in that way. So yeah, that's the segment there. How are you getting on today?
Just be a minute, mate. That's what happens when you're in the middle of London. It's really loud out here, but I think it's pretty awesome. There's fireworks going off and everything. I'm clapping just with one hand.
Yeah. No, it's not. Definitely a good thing that we've...
Good way to start.
Yeah, and Olga's joined as well. Nice to see you, Olga.
A round of applause, I'll go in, because otherwise I can't hear you now.
There we go. Oh, no, definitely. Yeah, definitely.
Popped outside especially for that. Let me get upstairs now and I'll sure lock us in. I didn't realise that about until a couple of minutes before we're about to start. I think, oh no, I've got to run outside. Got to do me clap. Right.
Yeah.
I'm here now.
No,
I am, I promise. I'm still here. There we go.
Yeah. How are you doing, Katie? No, it was a nice little touch there, because then in the end of the day, this is about quarantine fitness and life. So I mean, what we're going through with sort of like this current sort of like virus situation, we definitely need sort of our health service here. So again, this is us sort of showing our support. But yeah, so hi everyone again. So this is episode 4 of Quarantine Fitness and Life, and I've got my co-host, our main co-host Simon Chandler here with me, who's at Shredded with Simon on Instagram. So I've pretty much created this platform to sort of like help people sort of understand what they can do in terms of their physical fitness during this type of lockdown situation. But we also sort of talk about just like life in general to sort of help us all sort of get through this. So anything that you guys sort of have sort of maybe issues with or just want to sort of get it off your chest, we're here to sort of chat about that. So we're here to sort of like help each other. So yeah, sort of with that, I mean, how's this sort of like week been for you since like we sort of last chatted?
It's been all right, you know, a bit more productive than the first few weeks, so which is nice. Not in the way I expected to be, but that's all right. But yeah, it's been good, to be honest. We managed to get our shopping, which was a good thing. So
very important.
Yeah, without going in the shop, which was double important, I thought, so that was good. Yeah, just been good. Training's been good as well. Training pretty much every day, to be honest, because the intensity is not quite as much as I'm used to, so I can train every day now.
Yeah,
which is pretty nice. Getting on the live feed and speaking to people while I train, which has been good. So yeah, positive week. How about you?
Yeah, for me it's just for me it's just really sort of like setting up all these lives and just getting things ready for putting these sort of things on YouTube so people can watch them sort of at their leisure as well, and just little side projects, because that's ultimately the thing with this. It's about really trying to keep yourself busy with productive things. And I think that really sort of ties into something that you really wanted to sort of hit from our last chat, which I think is an important thing. It's really, I suppose, the mental health side of being locked down and like how that really can affect people's decisions and how they are feeling. So, I mean, what type of like things do you think people may be thinking about and maybe sort of like make them feel stressed? Sam McGeary?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I was just asking, like, what sort of things do you feel that people would be worrying about sort of right now, and what sort of like maybe sort of like situations, or not situations, what sort of things we could sort of like use to sort of like get out of these type of situations to like make them sort of feel better and realise that they can still go after sort of goals that they may set themselves, or to even come up with goals, I suppose.
Yeah, I think one of the main things is the attitude, because I think a lot of people get stuck in the feeling that they can't do things that they want, which is one of the main things I've seen, especially in fitness. I can't do this, I can't do that. And I think that can be contagious as well, whereas people talk to each other, oh, I'm upset that I can't do a certain thing. And I think I wouldn't like to say that's a bad attitude, because it's pretty normal because of the situation that we're in, that people get sort of stuck in a negative way. But I think once you realise that there are positive things that you can be doing, but I think it's the first thing to realise is the thing that you can be doing might not be the thing that you thought you were going to be doing. So you just got to reassess what you're going to use the time for, which has been difficult for me, because to be honest, the home workout thing is something that I really do not do. So it's difficult at the beginning, and I understand how people can be a bit more negative about it because it's something they're not used to and they don't necessarily want to do. But actually, once you get into your new way of life, which is completely different from what you're used to, it can be really positive. I'm starting to find training is really fun. I'm interacting socially with different people than I used to interact with socially while I train, which is really good. I've been starting projects that I didn't have time to do before. So there's a lot of positive things that can come out of it if you let them. And I think a lot of people fight it because they want to complain about not being able to do something that they otherwise would be doing. And I think that can be dangerous. Not for a week or a few days, because it's all right to get stuck in a rut sometimes. But I think if it lasts too long, because as we know, we just found out in the UK that we're going to be in our houses for another 3 weeks at least. And I think it's they're getting stuck in that circular routine of negativity that can be the biggest problem. That's in my experience from what I've seen. Correct me if I'm wrong.
No, I would 100% agree with everything you've sort of said there. I mean, it goes down to a sort of phrase which I like to say a lot, and it really is that we need to actually stop focusing on what we can't control, to start focusing on what we can control. The more we obsess about things that we have no control over, like none of us have control over the fact that this virus has happened. None of us have got control that we have to lock things down because we need to stop the spread. But if we continually obsess over that this is stopping our current or our past way of life that we now wish we had again, then of course we're going to be in a negative mindset. But only until we get into this situation where we start to accept, okay, this is the situation. I can't do this, I can't do that. That's fine, I can't do that. What can I do? When it comes to physical fitness, home workouts, in this type thing here, that doesn't stop what we do nutritionally. Whether we're in lockdown or whether we're not in lockdown, that doesn't stop the choices we make nutritionally. We can still do those. If it's a case of the fact that we can't really go to work, we can work at home. Is it the fact that we can't particularly see our friends the same way? There's Zoom calls. It's about finding different ways of doing things that we were doing. I think sometimes people just need a bit of a nudge to show them the things that they can do. Yeah, for sure. You know, is that something you've sort of like seen, or is it something you even are doing with your clients, or that people have said to you?
Yeah, I think it's a case of sometimes that you forget that you can't do stuff as well. So people go, "Oh, I'll just go and do that," and then there's that sort of negative realization you can't do it, which can get a little bit something you have to fight against. But with my clients initially, there was a few that were like, "Oh, I can't do this," because I've got most of my clients from a certain field. I take on predominantly sort of more bodybuilding style clients. They're not necessarily bodybuilders, but they're looking to do a certain thing, which seems to be the thing that people think they can't do from home. So I've had a lot of messages from clients that I'm desperate to get back to the gym. But again, it was just a way of finding ways to do things that I normally would do, but with the things that I have available to me at home. So what I've been doing with clients is basically doing calls like this, and taking them through sessions. And an hour session is an hour session. It's the same thing. It's that the only difference is I'm not there, and I've had to adapt what I'm doing for clients who are not necessarily in front of me and don't have the same equipment. But it doesn't mean I can't coach people through workouts on a one-to-one basis still. So I'm still running my business in that way from home. So that keeps me busy and interacting with people, and it keeps people positive. But I find just any way to get positivity out there has been keeping me motivated and really helping my clients go for it. Because I've got a few ladies who I talk to who are going for runs every morning, and then they're doing their hour session, and it's great. But at the beginning they were a bit negative. They went through the same sort of weak slump that I went through. So I think that's understandable. But I've definitely been applying the things that I say to you in the lives to my clients behind the scenes as well, which seems to be helping them out a lot.
And I think that's one brilliant thing that you've put out there, the fact that you were in a rut, but the thing is, you accepted that you were in a rut, and the fact you talked about your clients there, that they maybe didn't want to go out for a run, but then they did it. It's okay to accept that things aren't okay, or that we don't feel okay about something. I think a lot of the times people might say, oh, just stay strong or be resilient in this situation, but we might not always feel that way. But I think we need to accept that we're going to have periods we don't feel great, but it's about accepting that and then moving on. Yeah,
exactly.
Which is like pretty much what, like, because you said at the start that training at home was a bit weird, but you did it because you value your fitness. But now your clients are still keeping their runs going, because the thing is, ultimately, whenever we want to achieve something, we need to, understand what it is we want, but then we need to set a form of habits that are going to achieve that. So regardless of the situation, we just stick to those habits, and it's those habits that end up building up a structure for that day or week. And if we just keep those habits going, that's what's going to carry us through.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%.
So I think that's pretty much like almost like, I imagine now that you've pretty much got your day set up in a particular style that means that you can get through the tasks you sort of want to do, be it do your client calls at a certain time, get your training done at a certain time, get your shopping done maybe on certain days. I mean, have you got like a sort of structure now that we're coming into the sort of fourth week of lockdown?
In terms of the food thing, I just get food when I can get it. So it's a little bit less on the rotor. Although we do check the click and collect section online of all the main supermarkets once a day. So we're kind of keeping on top of that. So as soon as we have chance to go and get our groceries, we can do it. Although I did stock up from some online meat companies right at the beginning of lockdown. So I've got a lot of protein in my freezer. Probably enough for a month. So I'm not too worried about that side of things, just getting the fresh stuff. But we do check that, and we do kind of have a schedule that we do check that. I wake up in the morning pretty much similar time every day. I spend my morning working on, I'm actually working on a program that I'm going to release in a couple of weeks, which is what I've been doing for a couple of hours when I wake up every day. Then I'll basically have a little bit of chill time to myself, which I think is a positive thing I've got out of this, because I never used to have any time. So that's been a great thing, and I think people should take advantage of having some time to themselves rather than having to fill it and be constructive in every hour of the day. I think that's silly while you've got the opportunity to actually have some me time. And then I will do anything to do with my clients, and then I will train. Obviously, I'll be eating intermittently along these hours. I get my food through the day. I won't bore you with what I eat at every hour, but I eat through the day. And then every evening, so at the moment we're doing the Marvel film marathon. We do one film every evening before we go to bed, and that's what we've been doing. So, pretty much on a schedule, pretty solidly.
Do you know what? And I actually love the way that you did break it down, because it really does exemplify what I'm trying to get through with you here, that a lot of the times that we feel worried about things and because we can't control them, is because we let our mind just race through things. And when we let our mind race through things, then we think of all sorts of scenarios, and that just can put us into an even more depressed state. But the thing is, what you said, so basically even your schedule, the key thing that you said pretty much to start is you wake up pretty much at the same time on your days. So you're setting your day right, you know? You're going, okay, I'm getting up and now I'm going to do what I need to do in this day. So you also said that you're creating a program. So that is you've given yourself a purpose for your day. So you're doing that. But then also you're giving yourself some chill time, which I think is actually very important that people need to remember. That, yes, it's good to have goals and things, but just take this time to sometimes relax, because a lot of times we don't really get the time to relax. So being able to sort of have that time to just sort of like, just embrace the situation, actually have some time to think about even what you want to do, or just think about nothing, sit and read a book. Just that time is very important for us as well. I think it's really great to de-stress. Then you sort of like do your stuff for your clients, you get your training done, you have your sort of movie night or to watch it. You're giving yourself something to look forward to even at the end of the day. So I think if we can set our days up in a specific way, almost like what people would do when they go to work, they're going out the house for a purpose to work. Whereas if we think of it as waking up to have a purposeful day, that's the whole point in having that structure. I mean, do you feel that you sort of like giving yourself a sort of set structure sort of like helps you through this type of process?
Well, I think without it, the first thing is I might not get everything done. So, because
Exactly.
I am the worst person if I don't have a plan. So if I don't have a plan, even if it comes to a workout, the chances are I'll half-arse it. I need to have a plan. That's just me. Yeah. I'm a little bit OCD. I have to have everything laid out. It's just how I am. It's how I approach my clients' training. I like them to have a plan. That's kind of how I run. So the good thing I noticed at the beginning that I had the idea for this plan that I wanted to make. And I was just sitting at the computer for hours and hours, getting as much done as I could. And in the end, I was getting stressed. I was like, oh, I'm never going to get this finished. I didn't have a plan. I basically had a thing I wanted to get done and was not stopping, which was being less constructive rather than more constructive, because what I was getting down wasn't as good as I wanted and I was getting stressed out about it. And that was right at the beginning of the lockdown. And then I decided, you know what, I don't need to rush. So I wake up in the morning, spend 2 hours on it. I've got a whole thing all the way up till, I think, the 27th or the 28th of this month, what I'm doing specifically every day.
Yep.
And that's really helped me actually get more done, not less, even though I'm spending less time per day. So that's been good. And I think, it has helped me through, because I do it first thing in the morning. I think if you've got something constructive you want to do, I would do it in the morning, because once that's done, let's say even if it takes you an hour or 2 hours, once you've done the thing that you wanted to achieve, you don't feel guilty about chilling for the rest of the day. Yeah. So it's nice to get up and get something done that you want to get done, that isn't just leisure time. So now when I have my chill time in the afternoon, if I come up and watch a TV program or go out for a walk or whatever it might be, I feel like I've earned it. Yes. So then I might even go back afterwards and do a bit more if I've got time or I want to, but I don't have to. I'm more than happy to say that's done for today. Tomorrow's the next thing. And I feel like I've achieved something every day that way, which has been a much more positive feeling than when I started. Yeah, and that's the thing there. So because of having that structure there, it's actually helping you feel more positive, but it's also helping you feel less stressed. So because you've went, okay, well, there's no point in me trying to just get this all done, because I don't actually need to do that. Let me just do little bits each day, and then I'm going to get to where I want to be. Plus, I don't need to overly stress myself, but still, you're making progress. And that pretty much is almost the essence of bodybuilding, what we do. Yeah. You're not going to get a result just because you train 7 days a week. Actually, that's counterintuitive, because your body needs rest, so it's the same technology, but I think we just want to get a result quickly, and I think that's the thing. Yeah, minimum effective dose, best thing to use during this time. Yeah. Because you've got a lot of time, but I think the worst thing is as well, I know I say that, it's a great time to have a project. I think a lot of people who don't necessarily need to have a project feel pressured that they're not being constructive with their time. Which I think is the flip side of the coin. If you put too much pressure on yourself and you have, you feel like, oh, now's the time I have to do this. But you don't have to do anything. At the end of the day, it's your decision as to whether you want to do something. And I think a lot of people are saying, oh, well, that person's done all of these things or done this crazy TikTok daily thing or done this vlog and I've done nothing, and then they feel guilty. But the fact is, some people have chosen not to do stuff, and that's nothing to feel guilty about. If tomorrow I wake up and decide, I'm not going to do anything today because I deserve a chill day and I'm not going to do anything, I'm not going to feel guilty because someone else did more than me. Because it's my decision. And I think a lot of people should rein back the pressure they're putting on themselves, because I think there's two sides to the coin. There's people like me who really want to get stuff done, and I do put quite a lot of pressure on myself, but at least I control it, and it's something I wanted to do anyway. I haven't started to do it because of this. So, and I think some people just feel like, oh, I need to have a project because I haven't got anything else. Like my sister, she's in furlough as well, so she's not working. She doesn't necessarily have a project. She fills her time with fun leisure stuff. She goes to walk the dog, she watches films, she bakes cakes. She has fun, and I think that's the flip side of the coin. If you just want to have fun, then it's a great time to do that as well. So,
but I think that's even part of the things. And I think you raised a great point there, and this is useful for everything in life. Don't compare yourself to other people. I know that sounds like such a obvious thing, but too many people do it with everything, be it in terms of how someone looks, what job someone does, what car someone does. When you start doing that, you're taking away from what you can actually do because you're thinking that someone else is doing better. The only time to look at what someone else is doing is if it's going to be something that's going to inspire you to try and achieve something.
Yeah.
That's the only time to do it. So, and the analogy that you now, what you've showcased that with here is that saying that some people might look at other people that they've got a project during this sort of time and they feel that they've not really done anything. Again, that's fine, because ultimately what this should be, the project should be what you or us or people want to do themselves. If you don't particularly have anything, then that's fine, just as long as you are doing something, be it leisure time, if it's baking cakes or whatever, watching movies, as long as it's making you feel happy and fulfilled in what you're doing, then that is fine. It's just that for a section of people having some sort of like goal in mind of what but that's the thing, it comes down to, again, what is it you want?
Yeah.
So having some time to sit and think about what is it you actually want in life. Are you even happy in the job that you were in before all this quarantine stuff happened? If your answer is no to that, then this is a great time to really think about what is it you want. And then that might actually come out with the project that you maybe want to do. Do you want to learn a language? This is the type you do. Did you really want to change careers, but you're feeling comfortable in your job, but now things are, this is maybe a time to look into that other thing. That's what the project is, what you want out of life or what you want to be doing. That is what the project is.
Yeah.
So that's why we can't really compare what we're doing to other people, because we've all got different things that we want out of life. So that's why I think that was a really great example, especially with your sister as well, saying that she is like baking cakes and she's fulfilled with that, and that's great. In the end of the day, that's what we should be doing, things that speak to us that we want to actually do. So, I mean, I hope that people watching really get that sort of message. I think that's a very important one that you sort of put out there, Simon. Let me see. Olga, 100% agree with you. On my days off, I've got routine waking up, breakfast at 10:30, 11ish, trained, and I'll cook chill time after lunch, 3 times a week in the afternoon, skipping. Yeah, so when we have some sort of like structure, or we have habits of what we want to be doing each day, not only does it make the time pass sort of productively for what we want, but also it takes our mind away from things that if we weren't doing these things that might end up depressing us or might make us feel bad or make us stress more about this type of situation that we're in. But as I said before, we can't control that situation. If we just keep on thinking about that, then we're just going to
go around in circles.
Yeah, exactly. So, But I think it's like, I hope that people watch this sort of like, this sort of gives them that sort of idea that we can stop ourselves running circles by giving ourselves other things to do. But as long as we make that link to things that internally we want to, even if it's sit and watch a movie, you know, that's how we can sort of get around these types of situations, I suppose. But what really would you say to sort of people that, you know, they are, let's say maybe they're self-employed and it's like they're, you know, they're worrying about how things are going to be sort of like turning out, you know, especially since we're going to be in lockdown for another sort of like 3 weeks in the UK. I mean, what would you say to those sort of people there? I mean, what are you even thinking about that yourself? I mean, as a self-employed person as well.
Well, I'm in the lucky position that I'm actually not technically self-employed, so I'm getting paid by a business at the moment. So, I mean, that's lucky for me. But there's a lot of people that are self-employed who are in this certain position. But I mean, especially when I can only really speak about personal training because it's really what I only really know about in terms of self-employed people. The first thing I will say is that if you are that way inclined and you want to maintain one-to-one client sessions, it's really easy to do. So there's always an income for you even in this time, because people are desperate for help, because everyone's in this same scenario with their fitness, where they're not really necessarily sure, because not everyone's a bodyweight training expert or resistance band training expert. But you've got to remember that if you've got a client base that you do one-to-one sessions with daily or online coach, you're the expert in that relationship. So that person is still waiting for your help. So if you can build them a program that you can run through with them, if you do 3 sessions a week, there's no reason why you shouldn't be doing that with them now on the video time or Skype or whatever it might be. Use something that can facilitate that. You can use Zoom to run online classes if you take classes, and I'm sure that those people that go to your classes will appreciate that if you're usually in a gym getting paid by a gym, for example, that they won't mind spending £2 or £5 each to join your Zoom class. Schedule it like you would a normal class, so there's that option available for you. Building nutrition plans for quarantine people, especially doing it around products that are easier to get, although that's kind of blowing over now and you can get most things. So there's loads of ways to continue and even build your business even when you're stuck at home. So I think in our business and what we do, we're in a very fortunate position that we can continue to do that. But I'm sure that a lot of self-employed people that would go somewhere can take this time to make plans to bring their business to the next level, build relationships with clients. So there's always a silver lining. It might not necessarily be financial now, but it might pay off later. So, and at the end of the day, we are stuck at home. We've got nothing to do really, unless you've got a mortgage and stuff, which the government will be helping with, and banks are helping with as well. So I did a bit of research into that. I don't know exactly the ins and outs, but really we shouldn't be spending as much money as usual either. Unless you're like buying loads of stuff to entertain you at home, which I know some people
fair enough. Again,
that's a choice. If you've got the money to do that, that's great. If you can buy yourself a home gym, brilliant. But for a lot of us that can't do that, obviously, all I'm really spending now is food. Yeah, and I'm just at home the rest of the time, so I'm not spending half the money that I would usually, even just going to my workplace, buying food from the cafe, which is obviously at a premium. So really, I would try not to worry. I know it's an uncertain time, but I think if you can think of ways that you can work now to benefit you later, if you're a self-employed person, now's the key time to be working on your business in different ways than you'll be used to develop it further. So I think it's sort of a blessing in disguise for self-employed people, especially, and personal trainers. I mean, in my opinion, if people aren't still making their client session money from home, and if they're a self-employed personal trainer, I think you're probably doing something wrong, and you need to work on building your relationships with your clients better, because that's really what you should be doing to help them. If not all clients will want it. I mean, I've got a bodybuilding client. He's waiting for his delivery of his resistance bands, but he's just been stressed and missing the gym. And I don't think I'd ever get him doing bodyweight training with me, because that's not what he wants to do, and that's fine. Fair enough. There will be clients like that, but there will be a lot of clients that are desperate to continue their progress from home, and they don't know how to do it. So long story short, make the most out of the situation we're in, because that's all we can do.
Yeah. It goes back to focus on things that we can control and things that we can't. And the main point I want to really get out of that is really that in all sort of negative situations, we can always find a positive that we can use to get out of that. And yes, this is going to hurt a lot of people that are self-employed, and even people that are employed as well. But it's understand how to restructure what we're doing. So even if it is someone, let's say, who's a photographer, you know, or a wedding photographer, there's other things that they can do photography-wise.
Loads of stuff.
You know, to open up the doors. And even for me, I mean, like, so I am pretty much self-employed in what I do as an online fitness coach. But yeah, gyms are shut. So what do I do instead? I now do home workouts for people. So for my clients, so they don't actually stop their progress, for what you said there, that they are keen to still continue because they're doing well. So that is what I do. So it comes down to us being able to not necessarily think outside the box, but just sit down and think, okay, what can I do in this situation? Because when you start to think more, what can I do rather than what I can't do, you can start to actually get ideas. And I think one good thing, people, is to actually get a pen, paper, and actually sit and write these things down, because that starts to get this sort of mind going and things that you can. You start to come up with solutions, and it's always better to find solutions to problems rather than just keep on thinking about problems.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, so yeah, so I think that really is a good one there, just to really focus on sort of like new ways of operating your business. Because even look at it this way, I mean, you've got like Formula One car producers. They're not making Formula One cars now for the next season right now. What they're doing, they're actually making sort of like ventilators. You're seeing it in so many things, like, and you've got perfume makers. They're making sort of like hand sanitizer. So it's about thinking, what can you actually do? What are the skills that you have? What are they transferable into?
Yeah, even Hugo Boss is making face masks for hospitals and stuff.
Yeah. So yes, they're not necessarily things fully practical for the individual person, but I suppose the point that we're trying to really get here is that if we sit and think about the skills that we have, and we can't specifically do, for instance, if someone works in a restaurant, what other skills does that person have that maybe they can use during this situation? Because I actually think I saw it was someone in Belfast, so she started up a project where people knit scrubs for the NHS. She can't knit, but it was her brainchild. But what she was good at is logistics. Yeah, to just bring people together. And because of it, this thing's growing, so it's just little, it's things that you feel would. I think really in this sort of situation here, is actually thinking of what can I actually do that will actually help benefit other people right now.
Yeah, exactly right. I mean, there's loads of silly, like, little things you can easily do depending on what your job role is. Like you said, for example, if you're a chef in a restaurant, you've got loads of friends, right, who aren't necessarily cooks. So all you need to do, message them, send me what food you can get hold of, I'll send you recipes. Like, there's loads of ways you can help people. Like, you know, and you don't have to be charging people fortunes for the services that you're doing, but it will keep you going. And that's what we need right now. We need to be kept ticking over. We're staying at home. So, I mean, now is not a time for big life changes.
Yep.
It might be preparing for one, but now is not the time it's going to happen because we have to be where we are. But there's always, I think, a positive attitude goes a long way, because if you approach a problem with a positive attitude, you can find ways to apply yourself. And I think that's a massive message to get out to people. Like, when I first came home, like, I didn't really want to be at home. I wanted to still be at the gym, because my gym closed before the government told gyms to close. And I was like, why is the gym shut? I was one of those people who didn't think it was that serious at the beginning. Yeah. So I didn't really understand it. There wasn't that much information. So I was like, why are we closing the gym? And we made some nice videos for the gym, home workout stuff for the gym and stuff. That's what we were doing in that period. But I didn't really want to be doing that.
Yeah.
I wanted to be training my clients in the gym, and I was kind of like, why is it shut? So I went, but then I went from a negative to then a positive. Okay, well, I've got an opportunity to make these videos.
Yeah.
And then I spent some time I made a thank you video for the NHS, all different things like that. And then I was enjoying it, and I thought, wow, actually, I'm got the opportunity to use a different skill, which I used to use a lot. So I think, your mindset can really change the way you approach a problem, and you won't find solutions if you approach a problem with a negative mindset, because you won't want to find a solution.
Exactly.
Because there is that human part of us in everyone who just wants to complain. Like, I've got it as much as everyone else. I'm the world's biggest complainer when I've got a chance. Like, I'm positive when I come out in public, but like, I complain a lot at home, let me tell you. But like, I have to get through that sort of moan to go, right, now how can I fix this? Because I don't want this to affect me. Like, so it's kind of being positive as self-preservation. It's a great way to get by.
Yeah, and that's why I suppose I said before that it's okay to feel those feelings, because for instance, like, a lot of times people right now will say be strong, this it can be positive, but I don't want people to think that means that you should always feel that way, and that if you don't feel that way you're doing something wrong. No, it's okay to feel that this can be overwhelming at times, but take that emotion, sit and think about it. And even if you have to feel bad for it a bit longer, then take that, but then you'll get to a point where you go, do you know what? I need to just do things because I don't want to be in this position. And that's where you start to come into that sort of like more positive mindset. If you keep your mind thinking that you don't want to, you don't want this to be the situation that you're in. You don't want to be feeling negative about things. You know you can't change things. So what can I do? As long as you get back to that type of thought process, then you're going to be able to get past it. But yes, I mean, even myself, when the gym shut, I was like, okay, well, I stopped just before the gym shut, but even still, I wasn't able to then continue training there. So I had to accept that and go, okay, well, I need to really look at home workouts. What type of things can I do that would make it similar to what I would do at the gym in terms of training different body parts? But because of doing that, not only was I able to train myself, but then I was able to give that to my clients, and now I'm going to do a lot more videos on my Instagram to show these types of exercise. I've done a little bit more on my Facebook as well, but it's like these types of things, these types of opportunities only come when you keep yourself in a positive mindset to want to make things better. And I think that's the sort of key thing, as you said, is like we can't always be thinking that this situation is bad for me, but it's bad for everyone right now.
Well, I don't know. I bet some people are probably just loving it.
But then you've got those types of people that that's because they're just. It comes back to you need to learn. We need to learn how to embrace this situation.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's what it comes to. The more that's what it comes to. The more that we stop wishing that things were back to normal, and actually just accept the situation and make the best of it and try to thrive from it whatever way we can. Like we've talked about different things that people can maybe do in terms of like trying to use their skills in different ways, and especially if it's done the way to help other people.
Yeah.
Not only does that give them a purpose for their time, but it might actually potentially lead to another business opportunity or whatever. Or like, for instance, I don't know if you've seen that guy, Tom Moore, the guy's 99, who's doing laps of his garden.
Yeah.
You know, if like they started with a target of, I think it was like £1,000 9 days ago.
Yeah.
And now they're over like 10 million. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised right now if it's like 14 million that they're at. Because I think the last I saw, when you go?
I think the last one I saw was it was over 14 million already.
Well,
that was
a
few hours ago.
And he did that just as a sole thing to go, I'll do this to help the NHS. But because of that, he's now, I mean, that target that he's now got is just absolutely incredible, but that's given him a purpose as well.
Yeah.
And with him being like, what, almost about 100, I bet you that is actually keeping him going as well. So,
I bet it is, yeah.
Yeah, we all need that type of driver. And what that driver is what do you want? What do you want to be doing right now? What do you want to be able to do in the future, possibly? Once you're able to, it comes back to like something that I'm sure you will explain to your clients when you sort of first get them. It comes down to, what is your why?
Yeah.
What is it you want to achieve? Why do you want to achieve it? I mean, do you want to sort of go into sort of like why finding your why is important, even if you want to use sort of like, let's say, a personal training example, just to sort of showcase the importance of people understanding what their why is?
Well, I think without a steadfast reason to do anything, there's already going to be a lack of motivation. Like, I'm not going to go to the gym 6 days a week because you tell me I should, because that's not a good enough reason. Someone else telling you. It doesn't matter if it's good for you. If like, say, you know what the best example actually is? Not fitness, it's smoking.
Okay, so, because you said you used to be a smoker,
If you're a smoker and everyone is telling you you should quit smoking, and you know it, but there has to be a conscious decision to decide to do it for yourself, and there has to be a reason why behind it, and that reason will never be because someone told me I have to, even if you know they're right. So, for example, when I eventually quit smoking, I can't even remember how long ago it was now, a long time ago, probably over 10 years ago now, I properly quit. But when I decided to quit, I think I'd finished university, definitely, and I had a degree in sports science. I wanted to be a personal trainer, and I'd started doing my personal training qualification in, I think, 2010. And I was doing like a coursework, and I'd gone out for a cigarette halfway through, and I just had a moment of realisation when I thought, I can't set this example when I'm a personal trainer. This is just ridiculous. And I enjoyed smoking. It was something that like, I'll be honest, and I used to smoke way too much, bad for my health, and I knew it was bad for my health from when I started, but it didn't stop me. And obviously it's addictive as well, which is why you enjoy it. But that one thought that I need to set a positive example for other people, I stopped. I finished that box because, let's face it, I'd spent the money. But as soon as that was done, I said, that's it. And I never smoked again after I made that decision to stop properly. And it's because I had a why. I'd never had a proper why before because I was just at uni, partying, and I knew my end goal was to be a personal trainer, but I wasn't one now. I had no social medias back then. I didn't even join Facebook till right at the end of university, so I wasn't really throwing stuff online like I do now, so I didn't have a why. But as soon as I did, that's when change happened. So you have to have a why that comes from inside to actually instigate positive change. That's so important with anything in life. You can't do something because someone thinks you should, and you can't do it because you think you should. You thinking, well, I should do that. I should go to the gym. I should do this. I should do that. It's when it becomes a must is when you actually do it. So there's all well and good half-assing stuff, but once you've got that why, you will work towards something because then you know it's like a moment of clarity. So yeah, that was my smoking example, but it worked for training. I eventually got really serious about training when I decided, you know what, the Olympia stage is somewhere where I want to go. Yeah. And I'm deadly serious about that. And when I started to believe that I could, then I was like, hey, I can do this. You know, this is something I could do with my life. And then I haven't stopped. And that was like 3 years ago now, and I had not stopped. I haven't missed a training session. Everything fell together, and that was my gym why. And also, there's always the intrinsic part of setting an example for other people. Now I train other people.
Yep.
But really, that was when everything came together and I got serious. And like you said, you have to have a why. So, and that goes for anything you're doing in quarantine. Now, I'm not going to wake up in the morning and work for 2 hours on the computer if I don't have a reason why I'm going to want to do that.
Yeah. Your example there was just really perfect for a why there, because just because we think it might be a good thing for us to, or because people keep on saying it, that is not a why. That's just a suggestion, really.
Yeah.
Suggestions aren't going to get you out of bed to do anything. Why is it when I was actually working a corporate job, why was it that I got up at like 4:30 so I could go and train? Because training was that important to me as an individual that I didn't want to have the excuse to not train. Like, let's say I finished my day at work and I had to stay in and do a bit of overtime just I wanted to get something finished, and I got home, let's say at 7:30 or 8:30, I'd be too tired to train. So I went, because training's important to me, I'll wake up at that time and do it. So, but no one will do that if they don't care about either being in shape or don't want it that much.
Yeah, of course.
So this is why whatever the thing is that you want, be it leisure time, be it to write a book, write a novel, be in shape, learn a language, whatever that is, that needs to come from you. But you need to then think, okay, why is it I want to do this? So let's use like a sort of physical fitness example. Generally, when I speak to clients or prospective clients, I'll probably say, okay, well, why is it you want to be in shape? And a lot of them just go, well, I want to be healthier. I just want to look better. That is surface level.
Yeah.
So then I ask them, why do you want to look better and all that? And then you might get, well, I just don't feel good in my clothes. I don't, I want to be able to like buy clothes that I really like to wear. That is good. And I go, okay, why? Then it might eventually come down to, you know what? I've not been in shape all my life. I've really wanted to, and it's depressing me. I know I can actually do better for myself. You go, that is your why.
Yeah.
Always ask yourself why until you run out of where you can go, and then that point there, that's where you know what your why is. And then when you've dug that deep, and yes, it might be painful, but once you know what that why is, that is what's going to make you do it when you feel tired, when you feel you might not be bothered to do it. Just remember what that why is, and that there is how you get consistent motivation. That's how you get self-motivation, because you remember what that thing is that made you feel that you needed to make that change. Yeah. And that is why having your why is so important in anything that you do in life. I mean, that's why I think your smoking one was a great example, because you went, you know what? I want to be a better example. It wasn't that, well, if I smoke, I could get cancer. If I smoke, then people might think badly. Like, just generally, it was, no, I know that this isn't good for what I want to achieve. It doesn't align with where I want to go.
Yeah, which is funny, because I didn't quit because it was affecting my health, or if it was bad for my training, because that wasn't powerful enough at that time for me to stop.
Yeah.
It had to be the other people. So it doesn't always have to come from within you, but there has to be a genuine motivation to do it. Like, for example, if you ask someone, well, why do you want to be in better shape? They're like, well, I want to be able to play football with my little one when he's 15. Do you know, that motivation is coming from outside, but it's a very powerful one. So it's not necessarily always 100% from within, but there has to be a genuine motivation behind it. It can't just be, well, I just want to be able to run a little bit further, or,
exactly.
A lot of these goals, as well as when we're on the subject of having a why and having goals, there's got to be a way to measure them, and they've got to be specific. you can't just say, oh, well, I kind of want to have a fitness business. Well, you can, but then you have to get into it. Okay, well, what kind of business do I want to have? What am I good at? What can I create that will benefit other people? And then you whittle it down to something that you're good at and you can do. So it can't be general. It has to be more specific. So generally, like you would whittle down the whys, you have to whittle down the whats as well.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think, and it's something that I sort of like read somewhere where it says, once you find your why, finding your how becomes much easier.
Yes. Yeah. 100%.
And that's pretty much what you really are sort of alluding to there. But it really comes down to having what your why is, and that why is attached to what your goal is. So let's say it is to be in shape. But then it's a case of, okay, well, if you know that that's what you want, what are the little steps that you need to take to get to that? And I pretty much use what I call my mountain analogy in this, where if you want to climb up a tall mountain, you can't just do that in one go. You need to go to that ledge there, then that ledge there, then that ledge. So you just need to just go up the ledges.
Yeah.
And as you keep on going up the ledges, you're getting higher and higher up that, and then you might get to one stage, you go, oh my God, I'm halfway up this mountain. Brilliant. Just keep on doing that. So, but it's about understanding what ledges do you need to take to get to that overall goal. And it's those ledges there, they're pretty much almost like what you'll need to do daily or weekly. And you need to stick to it, and that's why habits come in. Because you're not going to climb up this mountain if you don't take those steps. If you don't take those steps, you're not going to get there.
That's true. And I think if you're setting yourself a big goal while you're in quarantine, it can be a little bit daunting. So, because it's not going to be done overnight if it's a big thing, right? So I think, like you said about the steps, every step towards your mountain, every step you go is a small success that you can celebrate. Like, you don't have to just celebrate at the end, because the journey is part of it. And I think that's really important, that small successes build up. So don't just think the final achievement is to. So let's go in fitness terms. It's really easy to do because it's numerical. If I want to bench press 100 kilos one day, and at the moment I can only bench press 50 kilos, I'm not going to be upset when I get to 70 and I'm not at 100 yet. I should be happy that I've added 20 kilos to the 50 because I've taken some steps towards my goal, and that's a success in itself. And I think people forget to celebrate on the way, like the little successes every day. Like, if you haven't been good at getting up in the morning at a set time, then doing that for a couple of days is a success, because you're starting to break your old habits.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I've learned, right, which this might sound silly, but you should always make your bed in the morning, because you start the day with a small success, tiny little success, and then bed's made. You feel better because the bedroom's tidy, and you go on to your next thing. And then when you come home, you get into a nicely made bed. But that little success just sets up your day. And like people say, like, get up, make the bed, have a shower, if you're on a meal plan, get your breakfast. Like, you build on that success. You create like a sort of positive feedback loop in a way. I've done that. What next can I do? So let's say, there's one example I saw online. I wake up at 4:30 in the morning to sort of get up and get something done online, or do a check-in or whatever it might be. Oh, well, I'm up now, so I might as well go to the gym, and that's another success. And then I can come home and I can do this. And it's starting with a positive is such a key way to create success in your life, because if you start the day on a negative, let's say you hit the snooze button, you're going to wake up pissed off because you didn't get up when you said. You've already broken a promise to yourself in the morning. Yeah. So then you think, well, and then the whole day is a kind of meh day, because a lot of people can't recover from that initial negative sort of feedback loop. They give to themselves, well, I can't even get up on time. What's the point? And then it's like they question their own sort of dedication to the cause, as it were. So I think always try and start your day on a positive, even if it's tiny. Even if it's not hitting the snooze button, or it's making the bed. or if it's getting your breakfast on time, if it's a little win that you can build on, and then you go on to the next little win, and before you know it, you've done what you wanted to do for the day.
Yeah, and I think that is really such a great sort of point to put across to people, because what we do at the start of the day can help set up the rest of it, but it's not even necessarily that. It's just about starting to make changes. I think a lot of times when people feel that they need to make a change, they feel that they need to make a big dramatic change. The problem is that not many of us can deal with dramatic change straight away, because it's just too much. But as Simon said there, even if it's just one simple thing, like when I wake up, I'm going to make my bed. I'm actually going to wake up at a set time. When I wake up, actually going to like not stay in my PJs all day. I'm actually going to like have a shower and just dress. These little things start to then add up to become your normal habits once you keep on doing them. And once you keep on doing them, then you can set other things to make changes. And like Simon's example with someone doing a bench press, let's say wanting to do 100 kg, I think it's like 220 pounds, but they can only start at like 50 kg, so like 45 pounds. It's like making the little progress up to eventually get to there. You don't do that overnight, so just change one little thing, even if that's each day. By the end of, let's say, 1 month, you've made 30 changes that now probably become habit for you, that you don't even think they're changes anymore. So that's how you can start to change your mentality, your life, what you can do. That's what it sort of what comes down to, and that progress will make you feel so much better and will make you feel you can take on any other challenge. I mean, is that something that you agree with, Simon?
Yeah, I think so, and I think it's especially important for people who, again, I mentioned this last time we were on, people who are on their own during quarantine, because it's really easy to beat yourself up about stuff. It's so easy. It's so easy to be negative about yourself because we're all our own worst critics. So I think making those little easy changes so you can go, you know what, I've done that today, even if it's something small, even if it's waking up in like we said, like making the bed, or even if it was like setting yourself a goal that today I'm going to hoover the house. It doesn't matter what it is. Yeah. If it's something you can go, I feel good about that, even if it's small. Like, try and get those out of the way early in the morning so you can feel good for the rest of the day and you don't get stuck in a rut, because being on your own can suck if you're in a bad mood, because there's no one to talk you out of that mood. And if you're in a house or a flat or whatever it is on your own, the only way you're going to contact someone is if you make the decision to reach out to them. So if you're in a negative mood and you're all negative about yourself, no, I don't want to talk to anyone. So then you're not going to talk to anyone. So, like, which might sound silly, but I know what I would be like. If I was in a pissy mood because I'd done something I didn't want to do or hadn't done something I wanted to do, I'm just going to sit in front of the telly and just be like, oh, this is life. And I'm not going to reach out and talk to people because I'm not that kind of person, because I like people. And I know a lot of people, even strong people, will be sometimes where I like people to have the illusion that I'm always well. Like, there is that element of some people are like that, I know, because I'm like that a bit. So if you start out, if you did something nice, you might call your mum or whoever it might be and say, do you know what, I got up and did this today, and then that's positive. You spread that positive thing to someone else. So yeah, I think it's really important to just try and start your days on a small positive thing, whatever it might be.
Yeah, and I think that's, you know, I just have to echo that, because in the end of the day, the more that we stay in a negative mindset, that's just going to carry on to the next day, and the next day, and the next day. And then before you know it, you just feel negative for a week, and that week can turn to a month. Whereas if you start trying to make changes, no matter how small they are, you're going to start to feel better about yourself, because you're going, I've achieved that. When we achieve things, we feel great about it. And that sense of achievement, that can build up and build up. So then that day, you feel you've done good. What else can do the next day? So then you build that sense of achievement. So then instead of being negative for a week, it's positive for a week. Then that becomes positive for, and that's where we make it. So ultimately, it comes down to what our habits are, really, when it breaks down to it.
Yeah, and it boils down to momentum, and what way you're going with it. Yeah. I think that's super important. And it relates to a sales technique that I used to use when I worked in retail, which would be, and this was to, you know, when you go in shops, like, everyone's been there and they try and sell you on their store card or whatever it is.
Just before you go on, Simon, we've got the last sort of like 10 seconds this, so we'll start another live just to finish this one off. So hold your thought on your scorecard thing. We'll be back for another live, guys, so just stay tuned.